letter from Jerry Carlson. So it's not on the agenda, so we can't discuss it, but I thought it would be interesting to get it.
Yes, I actually saw it. We have no names attached.
I don't know where they are. I've looked for them. I can't seem to see them. Maybe they bring it over. I've looked in here. I got mine. I got quite a few other things.
I have some few duties tonight. Does this look like something you would normally get? Oh, you did? Okay. I want to make sure you get it. Not have.
Oh, you do?
Good. How you doing, sir?
Good.
You know, I'm actually not sure. I was looking, it looked like it.
I do not.
Our names? Oh, good, we're nameless tonight.
I worked in there and I can't.
Can we be somebody else?
Yeah. Big one.
You
Hey,
can find
well,
them.
this looks good, let's look at it.
I've looked overall, I don't know what.
It's gonna be lively. Well, you know, there's couple names that ought to work, huh? What about the mayor and, no, the mayor's not here either.
I want to say the last thing that Judy just had to sum out real quick on a nameplate.
Oh, yeah?
And
Oh.
so,
I wouldn't worry about a name.
I will introduce everybody.
sitting back here tonight, I
Why
got
don't
the
we
duty
have
of
names
keeping
on?
the minutes.
Mine was so small you couldn't see it.
Yeah, not too
Teresa is not here.
By the way, we haven't met, I'm Jean Chess.
Oh, Jean Marie Sweeney.
Okay, hello there.
Well, thank you for coming tonight. It's 6 o'clock, so we're going to start. And as usual, we will start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We have no name tags tonight, so I will just, before we have the roll call, I will just introduce everybody. On my right here is John Ruggiero. Alf Erickson isn't here. Larry Sweeney is on my left. Gene Schaff and John Solari. So, if you can remember that, you know who we are. We'll now have the roll call. Roll call, please.
Roll call, please. Okay.
Okay, maybe I'll just call the roll. So we have John Ruggiero,
Present.
Larry Sweeney,
Here.
Joan Solari,
Here.
Gene Schaff,
Here.
and I'm here. And Council Member Kathy Keaton is somewhere in Russia or Sweden or somewhere else, so she's not going to be here. Okay, so now I would ask for approval of the minutes of the July 12th meeting.
Make a motion to approve.
All in favor?
Aye.
Good. Are there any committee reports? Any public comments? Okay, there are no presentations. So we'll go right into the agenda items, and the first agenda item is a discussion and possible action to install no parking or no stopping signs in front of 273 Alameda. So, would you like to
Sure.
make a presentation?
Hi, I'm James Atwell. My wife's parents, Sabina, her parents, Hans and Wilma Delbert, who have lived at 273 Alameda for 45 years. Hans passed away in March after a long illness. We have been here since December of '09, when he was diagnosed with cancer. And I've been in Florida with their daughter the last 20 years, but we promised them when they need us that we come back. And he was 96. The mother's still alive, she's 94. My wife's the only child, so we're pretty much it as far as the caregiving. We've been very busy with that, and we have a problem with the parking. They are right next to the Los Lomelitas Elementary School, and it's not really so much the school. I've had Superintendent Hartwig out there. It's the daycare that's on the property that they lease the property to, and they keep adding portables, modular units. And we love hearing the children. They're in the ball field behind the property. You hear them every day, and it's a wonderful sound. The problem is the parents, the parking situation. I'm sure it's a common refrain around the couple of years that I've been here. I've driven around and seen, we've got 11 schools in Atherton, and most all of them have the no stopping in front of the schools, and the neighbors have the rocks. So I went to the place in Redwood City and had a load of rocks delivered in the front, try to help the situation out. The problem is, and I have a lot of pictures of, I may take a look at them, is turning left on the Alameda. In the 20 years I've been gone, it's become quite a busy thoroughfare. And you're more or less taking your life in your hands, turning out there, attempting to turn left, going south, coming out their gate. The people, what they're doing now is they're parking straddling in half in the bike lane and half onto the access there in front of the house, and you can't see when you're turning left. You cannot see. Most of them I have a workman truck and then a couple of our cars behind it. Usually it's all minivans or SUVs, and you cannot see to turn left unless you get out halfway into the Alameda. I don't know what else we can do. So we've been, obviously our plate's been pretty full with caregiving, and so we're just getting around to this now. And I noticed that, you see I have some no stopping signs on Walsh, the street across from the school. A lot of people have to resort to this remedy to have the no stopping, because otherwise they're just not being able to get out of the driveway, and if the rocks doesn't work. And I'm not even sure about the rocks. I understand you have to have some access legally. People have to be able to pull off the road. So if they were to damage their car in the rocks, we could be liable. So we don't want that situation. And my mother-in-law doesn't like the rocks anyway. She's hated them from day one. And I said, well, let's maybe save our life from getting T-boned there. So if anything you could do, if it could be possible to get those no stopping signs there. It's just in front of the house. We would just need two of them, one at each gate. They have the electric gate, and that's the one that we come out and turn left on. And you'll see, I have the car there parked, and we're looking to the left. As I said, usually it's minivans and SUVs, so the two cars behind that truck, it would even be higher. You really see nothing down there going to the left. It's just a dangerous situation. And we need to
Okay, thank you. Do any of the committee have questions for Mr. Atherton?
Have you tried to put the mirrors out so you can extend your point of vision? Many driveways in Atherton, we have the mirrors so that you can see around the cars.
No, tell you the truth, I haven't thought about that one.
That's what a lot of people I know have
No.
done.
I said, I was hoping the rocks would work.
Well, the rocks actually aren't something that anyone's
Yeah.
really supposed to be doing anyway.
Yeah, I know. I mean, they say you see it all around there,
Yeah.
Fairview and Atherton Avenue, and so now, like say, they park in the bike lane, which seems like to be a hazard to a bicyclist driving because they're, but it's just.
That's what I was going to say, the same thing that Joe said. On Fair Oaks, there's several, they have large round mirrors, convex or whatever. You can see the vehicles coming quite a distance in both directions. They could be arranged, but that's one possibility that she suggested too.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm the one driving my mother all the time to all her appointments in Middle Park. Between her and all the cross traffic, it's dangerous. And if I have to look at mirrors and then do the traffic, I can't see that happening.
Oh, do they park in front of your driveway?
No, they park right in front of the house. If you see that there's two gates.
I mean, they don't park in front of your driveway, right?
No.
So don't people coming out of Colorado Way still have roughly the same problem?
Well, some of the houses further down on the Alameda have no stopping signs. We don't, the policeman told, we've had the policeman out there, and they said it has to be 90 feet, at least, so once you get past 90 feet, then it doesn't apply to us. Now, I think down toward there, they have the no stopping. I know on Walsh, as you see in the pictures right across the street, they have it. And I believe it is on Alameda, I've seen it.
I mean, how far would the no stopping sign?
Well, we would have one at each driveway. You see, there's two gates. One's electronic and the other is, one's electric and one is just,
So between the two gates,
so-
you want no stopping signs. What distance is that?
what would that be, like roughly 150 feet, something like that?
Average acre.
Yes, it's just an acre, so it's about 150 feet,
Yeah.
maybe. They get about 5 cars, they get about 5 SUVs parked along that thing. And, you know, where they're not running to the bumper.
But it's really, the problem is mainly at your house because of your proximity to the school. And
Exactly, we're
doesn't
right next
affect
to
you.
school and parents dropping off the kids and they have events. And the problem is the school has plenty of parking, but the school doesn't let the daycare, they're happy to take their money for leasing the property, but they don't let the daycare people park in the school property. So they have to park wherever they can. And they even built, I'll show you one picture there, it looks, I don't know, it doesn't make sense, but it's a parking lot. It's like a dozen spots and it's asphalt right up to the back of her parents' property. So in the winter, it just floods in the back of her property now because it just drains right onto the property. It's not grass anymore. So they have those parking spaces for the teachers at the school, and they have lots of parking in the school and the other side of the school, but they don't let, the problem is the daycare, the parents with children in the daycare, they're the ones that are parking, not the school. And like I said, we love the kids, we love the sound of children playing, just the children aren't the problem.
Just my concern on this is that, you know, it's a precedent-setting thing, and before we know where we are, we'll have the people across the street asking for no stopping signs, and,
Well, the people across the street do have it on Walsh.
well, some of them do, but not all of them. I mean, I know that area pretty well, and so I mean, 150 feet is quite a long way. Could you get by with a shorter distance?
Well, I mean, it's from one driveway to the other.
Which one do you use?
There's 2 driveways. Well, we just use the one, the electric one.
Yeah.
And it's, the electric's the one we go out, and then you go to the left, and then there's the other driveway, and then, which we don't use, and then right there's the school. So it's just to the left. If, well, it wouldn't matter if we use the other driveway, because that's even closer to the school.
But I mean, if you're only using one driveway, do you need 150 feet?
Well, I suppose if to the driveway that we go out, if you would maybe about 3 car lengths, as you see, I have about 3 cars there. If it was further down there, just a couple, right in between that second driveway of ours and going up a couple car lengths, we get by with that. You know,
Could we have a comment from our police department? Ed or Joe?
Joe, I'm not real familiar with that street. Maybe you or Anthony might have a comment about it.
You know, my only comment about it is when you're coming out, I'm not sure what the exact footage should be, but I know that when you're pulling out of your driveway, because we've had other issues within the town, and it usually seems to be isolated to a specific set of homes, is the problem is if there are cars parked there, it is in fact on a street like Alameda, very difficult to see left or right, and if you're making that left turn, it can be a little.
It's the left turn, it's a very dangerous situation. I don't know if you in particular have been out there, there've been a couple of other policemen out there, and they recommend coming to council, and legally said there's nothing you can do, right, in this situation the way it is now, so.
Yes, I have been out there, and the left turn is, with car park there, is
Yeah.
difficult, just for visibility purposes, yes.
Would you consider this a safety issue, Joe?
Yes, I would.
So in other words, if we decided to do this, we could do it on the basis of safety,
Yes,
in your mind.
yes.
Yeah, I'm asking for convenience, right? This is a,
What
a light of
the other-
issue.
Well,
Don't you
Um,
think?
I have to go back to the fact that, yes, there are a lot of places in Atherton where it is not safe to pull out of your driveway. People who live on Middlefield, people who live on El Camino, people who live on the major streets. And it has to go back to the precedent setting thing, which is, we're all residents, and, you know, it would be nice if someone put no parking signs in front of my house so I could see getting out too. I don't live on as busy a street as you do, but If we all did that, everybody's gonna come to the council meeting and say, I can't see because people park because I live near a field or a this or that or this, and there's a lot of people who do. And I think if we were to grant this to you without trying some measures on your own, such as the mirrors, which I understand your situation, but it's really, you know, we're not a panacea for everybody's problems. We have to treat everybody equally. And to say that, yes, we're gonna give you this, when so many other people have the same issue, everyone's gonna be understanding, hey, then we want it too, they got it too. We need to try some other measures first. You know, and the mirrors have worked. I've used mirrors personally, they do work well. You can really see better. You can see around those parked cars. And, you know, that's my opinion.
I
Well, I was out there, yes, I was out there, and I looked at the situation, and it was definitely a safety issue. It was a very small area. They were, that you'd have to pull out and creep out and look to see whether you could make a left-hand turn. So I think it's a safety issue, and I don't see why we couldn't grant it, frankly. And I would encourage the mirrors though, too. But I definitely think there should be something done because it's very unsafe.
Larry?
I haven't gone out to look at it, but, and I have no appreciation for how many, I know there are some other people in the same situation, but, you know, on, like Alameda's.
Yeah, it's a lot of traffic.
It's become a freeway, the 20 years ago, I can't believe it.
It's a
now.
street.
And it's the combination of Alameda and the daycare next door to the school. It's
Have you tried working with the school to get them to make a modification for parking within their realm?
Well, they have, that's their little fiefdom, and they
Yeah.
just, you know, they're happy to take the money from the Creative Learning Center, Children's Learning Center for the rent for these modulars that just keep popping up, which is another issue that I have. Like
Yeah.
with the gardeners at 7 in the morning, and the floodlights shining on the house, and building a parking lot, and all this. It's 45 years, 50 years of just not doing anything, and just, they're happy, and they have these beautiful European-style gardens, that's in their life, you know. Office Ashes is out there in the urn, and she's gonna be there, and we'll be living there, because, let's face it, with Prop 58, they're kinda crazy to go anywhere else, and the property taxes they pay on that is incredible, you know, so.
Where do the kids actually come out? Is there, the entrance to the daycare center, is that actually on Alameda, or is it?
Yes, yes, it's on the Alameda, and the parents, what they do is they park there, and then they go inside and see the kids, and I think there's some that actually work there, the teachers that'll just park, because it's just easier, you're right there on the street, and just go ahead and boogie on instead
Do
of.
they park on both sides?
No,
Sometimes,
no,
occasionally, yes.
well, I haven't noticed that much, but,
Occasionally.
and I know on the Alameda, there are no stopping, some of the other residences.
Well, what time of the day is the worst?
In the morning and in the afternoon, and when they pick up and dropping off, and also when they have special events. So it can happen anytime.
Well, this is a difficult one because, as Joan says, you know, an awful lot of people in Atherton have the same kind of problem. I guess my feeling is that it's a safety issue. It seems like 150 feet is too much, but it may be that we could put in a no stopping sign for half that distance, for instance.
Portion of
That would help, I
it.
think.
Make some portion, maybe, of, you know, a car length or
Yeah.
car length and a half.
Well, these, I mean,
Couple of times,
you can see from the pictures, again, it doesn't really do it justice, because the first was the workman's truck, and then we have a couple of our cars there. They're mostly, 90% of them are all, they're parents, or minivans, or SUVs, so the height, there's 2 of them that are cars, you can see over them, so it doesn't look so bad, but when they're all minivans or all SUVs, it's, I would welcome any of the members to come out and, you know, in the car, and drive on the driveway, and take
I
a
know
look.
that area pretty well, because
And
my
see.
daughter used to live there.
I mean, you could put in signs that say no stopping between signs and make it any distance you want.
And you could do it
Certain hours.
for certain hours of the
Yeah.
day. So I think if you tell us the hours of the day, my recommendation would be that we put in no stopping signs between X and X and X and X, just like we've done on Oak Grove.
Yeah.
and Middlefield. And I think 150 feet is too much, but I would say if for 75 feet, I'd say, I would certainly recommend.
Then on the weekend also, they come and they play ball, they have a ball, organized ball,
You
on the
can
ball
make it,
fields.
you
and they
know,
are
you
there.
can make it 8:30 to 11:30. I mean, you can make it 7 days a week. So I think what we need to do is to have you tell us, if you want to do it tonight, that's fine, or if you want to send us a letter. My belief is that if we made it a shorter distance and we did it for certain hours only, that's the way I would look at it.
I think what Mr. Allen was saying is the weekends, it's not the days, it's the time of day, because they're there all day playing ball, right?
Right, Saturday, Sunday, they're not playing ball. I actually haven't put a tape measure down and measured this, maybe 100 feet. I'm not really sure, and didn't really study the times. Again, we live in a rental property they have in San Carlos that we've been in for the last year after Papa died. We had to put him in a nursing home the last couple months, and then he died in March. So we've been busy with that, so I haven't. We obviously come over at least every couple of days. We have to take the doctor, take her hair appointment, take her shopping. So I haven't really studied the times, but it's something I can do a little more research as far as.
Well, why don't you do that? I don't think at the moment I would support the whole 150 feet. I think,
Sure.
you know, it's taking too much parking.
Sure.
So it sets a big precedent for other people, but if it's a real safety issue, which, you know, Joe has assumed it is, then I would support, say, 75 feet and certain limited times. How does the committee feel?
Yeah, I think
I
we need to
agree.
revisit it with a little bit of.
Yeah, why don't I do it? Why don't I
Yeah.
get the tape measure down there? I actually measure it, and we'll stay over for a couple of days again. It's been a few months we've been gone. It seemed before that it was like all the time.
Okay.
I'd like to see you get those rocks out of there too, because you are pushing cars into the bike lane and that is dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's actually something that's in the town ordinance, we're not supposed to have those rocks in
Yeah.
our houses. so.
Yeah, I know. If you drive around, everybody's got them. Everybody's got them around schools, because all the schools have no parking, and it's like, you know, it's good enough for us, but, yeah, heck with you, so. But I appreciate your consideration of the matter. I'll do some further research and measure that and get the exact distance.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda is a discussion and possible action to install a keep clear zone eastbound on Atherton Avenue at Odell Place. This is one that I feel quite strong as far as, I don't know how these people in Odell Place get out of it.
They don't.
I was there today, I got out, but yes, it was a gracious person.
Yeah, so I would,
According to Mrs. Lanza, she's
frankly
run into a lot
recommend-
of those, so
I
I
would
told her,
recommend
I
that
think
one.
that would be
Yeah, I
something
would
to do
too,
pretty
I
easily.
would too, that's
Yeah.
a real bad spot there.
Okay, well, that's easy, so we'll, who is it, who's here, Mike, I guess, Gashawaka, you can put in a keep clear sign there so that people can get out of Odell Drive, keep clear. I mean, we
Yeah, what we would probably do is actually
Absolutely.
paint the pavement, keep
Yeah.
clear.
Right,
Mhm.
absolutely.
That ought
Okay,
to do it.
all right, thanks.
Just on one side.
Okay, now the next one is one of Larry's, and it's discussion and possible action to consider safety mitigations at the entrance to Irvine Avenue cul-de-sac.
Do you have to recuse yourself?
I don't know.
You
I
probably
can't.
have to.
I can't vote, but do I have to leave the room?
I had to leave the room.
Yeah,
I
guess
knew
you
she was gonna
probably-
say
The
that.
definition of recuse is suddenly got a new meaning.
I guess you have to when you go by the rules.
You know, Larry, it's all fair and love and war and
Oh, I know,
recusing.
but who's gonna explain the problem?
Well, I know the problem.
Okay.
I know the problem.
You can go over there and explain it if you'd like.
I walk around that area every day, and frankly, I'll tell you what my answer is right now before we leave. My answer is you put a sign up there that says Middlefield Road this way. And that way, I think people that drive in there and turn around and find there's no exit, even though apparently most people can't read because of the big sign there that says no exit.
Well, let me,
But I'll.
Okay.
I'll play witness. For a
Okay.
minute. What I find is that the thing that works best is markings on the road, because there's a large fraction of drivers who only look ahead at the road about 10 or 20 feet in front of their car, and they really don't see signs. We've moved that, not a through street sign in different places. It's kind of obscured by the curvature of Irving as you're coming down, so it's kind of hard to see, but it's in place now.
It's actually, I don't know, I think that sign's pretty visible.
I could see it today,
Yeah,
but I agree with you. I think there, well, am I allowed to talk now?
well,
I think there
Maybe
should be
let
that
Larry-
yellow line.
we'll have Larry explain it.
Okay.
Yeah, so my feeling is, being on the Limited Homes Association Board of Directors, that there's a lot of desire not to have signs that are leading people through the neighborhood. They don't want to have street sign, directional signs of how to get to 101, how to get to Flood Park, all that. They don't want to have even the speed limit flashing signs. We've had surveys on that. So it seemed to me that just having a warning sign, there's a left turn ahead and a yellow stripe to guide people through it, both the sign by the road, which most people will miss, but if you had street markings saying slow left turn ahead on the street, that people would definitely see that. So that's what I was proposing in the yellow line. Oh, by the way, the street light at that intersection, Irving and Heather, has been burned out for quite a while. I didn't need to mention that.
Mike can handle that one.
Yeah, but it's a daytime problem as well as nighttime.
But you don't think that a left turn, a sign showing, as I say, I walk that way every day.
Yeah.
So I see people going in there, turning around, and then realizing they don't go anywhere. So you don't think a small sign saying Middlefield, most of them are going to Middlefield Road?
No, a fair fraction of them have just come from Middlefield Road, and they drive down James, around the curve, up around Irving. They don't realize that they've made a 180-degree turn and are heading in the opposite direction. A lot of them, before we put our gate up, a lot of them would come into our driveway and ask how to get to Fremont. Something like that.
So take a helicopter. So Larry, tell us again what you're proposing.
So I'm proposing that we put a, up Irving, whatever the traffic guidance would be on this, a sign saying slow left turn ahead with a left arrow, like you see on the roads all the time, and then paint a yellow stripe around the curve from Irving onto Heather, so that if people come along, they know where it is they're supposed to turn.
Okay. How does the committee feel about it?
I think the suggestion of the yellow thing, when you're driving on a road in the mountains and you have direction with the yellow, that always works for me. I think that would work for here, because I was over there today and, I could easily see where somebody could just slog right up and around, So I think that the yellow markings on the road would be very excellent.
Okay.
I agree, yellow mark.
All right. Joan?
I would hate to see lines put in and then have someone in Lindenwood say they want them taken out, as has happened in the past. So do we have everybody on board around you?
Yeah.
Okay. That kind of stuff is happening.
As I mentioned, one of our neighbors has got serious damage done to their fences.
Well, you're on the Lindenwood board, right, Larry? So
Yeah.
you should be able to reflect the feelings of the
I
Lindenwood
mentioned
board.
this to the board, and everyone
Everybody's
said
okay
that.
with it? Okay.
So anyway, you can't vote, but how does the rest of the committee feel?
Yes, I vote.
I think it's,
With a
Yellow.
yellow.
it's probably fine.
Yeah.
I do too, so you can come back, Mike.
Thanks.
Yeah.
We'll
better be
approve it. So
cool.
Mike, do you know exactly what you're gonna do, Mike?
As I understand it, what you're looking for is a yellow stripe, basically going from Heather to Irving,
Right.
so that people either from Irving, they know to turn right, they turn left, there's nothing there, because there is a not a
No
through
through.
street sign on the left-hand side, and then also people who are traveling down Irving, so they follow the yellow around onto Heather
Right.
instead of going straight into your cul-de-sac.
And those are the that's the more serious problem. Not many people enter the cul-de-sac coming from Heather.
Yeah,
But no signage, just the yellow line to
that's
the
what Larry
fine.
says.
Well, so but I was also proposing a warning sign ahead on Irving, ahead of that.
A warning of like sharp curve or what?
Yeah, turn ahead, left turn ahead,
Left turn ahead.
slow.
Okay,
Yeah, well, I mean, I think you have a problem there. I mean, it's very disconcerting.
yeah, it
Yeah.
is. I've been nearly hit several times by people going pretty fast and that, but actually, and then stopping drives me away.
Yeah.
So most people like GPS systems, they don't stop me nearly as much as they used to. Okay, so I think we've voted to allow that. Probably we should, I'll ask for a vote. I will propose that we do it. John,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right. And Larry did not vote. So, next item on the agenda is discussion and possible action to consider a no right turn on red, 7:30 to 8, South Glen Middlefield Road at Encinal. This one puzzles me actually.
Why?
Well, I mean, it means that the people going to school, taking the kids to school down Middlefield can't make a right turn.
Not on the red. They need to wait till it turns green.
Wait for the green.
Yes.
They have one that's,
Edison to Middlefield or?
At Middlefield to Encinal.
Southbound Middlefield at Ensign.
at
Because
the,
the problem we've been having, even though we have a dedicated crossing guard, is that parents, people, I'm not define who they are turning and getting stuck in the middle of the crosswalk while we're trying to cross the kids, the crossing guard's trying to cross the kids through the crosswalk. It's gonna slow things down a little bit, but people are we have the same one at Oak Grove and Middlefield
Okay.
for the MA kids.
Yeah,
So the
And
crosswalk, I didn't know
there's
that.
a crosswalk.
Right to the
most of
right.
Kids cross Middlefield.
And you're in Encinal, you're gonna, and this is your turn, and the crosswalk is there, okay.
So what people are doing is they're pulling up onto the shoulder and bike lane, and they're making the
okay, I understand.
And this was a request made to me by the principal. Have you been out there, right? What are your thoughts on it?
John?
I mean, traffic is bad in the morning, and, you know, if people are making the right-hand turn there, if you've got people in the crosswalk there trying to cross and somebody turns in front of them, or they do get stuck there trying to get across, I think during the hours would be fine, because that's when the school is
Okay.
Moving kids.
moving.
So the police would recommend this?
Yeah, I think it'd be a
But what
fine.
about the afternoon time when the kids are looking?
We're not having a problem in the afternoons. We're only having a problem in the mornings.
Oh.
So Larry, do you have any comments on
I think it's a good idea, yeah.
that? Gene?
I think it's a good idea.
John?
Yes, I think it's a great idea. That's why I came up with it.
So let's, I propose we do it.
Can we have is there a comment from the?
I'll second.
Oh, sorry.
It's actually a comment for this measure. I take my kids to school on that same exact route every morning. And that intersection needs a little bit more work actually, including, on top of this, it should be striped properly so people actually don't use the right hand of that lane. Because it's a bike lane, plus it's, people walk on Middlefield, parking their cars on Middlefield, which I do sometimes. And then they walk into that intersection right next to the road. So it should be marked all the way to the intersection as a proper lane. And then the sign itself would make sure that nobody actually cuts onto the right side of the main traffic, if you know what I mean. This is the middle of the road. And most cars are here, right?
For one lane.
Yeah, and then the problem is people pull in this way to the right to make this right turn,
Which is actually a bike lane
which is a bike lane.
and a walking area.
And the stripes for the bike lane kind of end here, and the road gets wider. So there's room for 2-3 cars here to double up to make that right turn. This should probably stripe all the way here, so people don't do that. Because there's a lot of people crossing this way.
Yeah,
And
it's a
also
very
this
busy
way.
intersection in the morning.
Yeah, it's very busy, because this side is not used
Right.
anymore. Yeah, this side is not.
So again, can we have a police input in that, please?
Well, the issue is, even though those lines are broken, if they stay where they're at now, or you move them to the left, even though they're broken, a car can still enter that bike lane to make a right-hand turn, that's totally legal. So once it goes from a solid white line to a dotted line before the intersection, a car can legally move to the right to make a right-hand turn at the intersection. So changing the striping, while it may make it straight, it doesn't change the legality of making the turn, it's still legal.
So if we took the dotted line out and put a solid white line in, does that make any difference?
You're not supposed to cross a solid line, but Mike, is there anything in the transportation code that says?
I'd have to check that. I'm not-
I think that the trouble you have, Mayor, is that the vehicle code not specifically tells you that when you make that right turn, you're supposed to make it as close as practical as the right-hand edge of the roadway, obviously. And the fact that there's a bike lane in there, the law allows you to get into that bike lane just prior to making that turn. And I think there may be a little conflict there, maybe some research in the vehicle code and discussion with Mike about how best to handle that, because the last thing we want to do is create a conflict with California Vehicle Code.
So do we have a California vehicle code that says how long that dotted line has to be?
I'd have to research that. Generally speaking, though, and Sergeant Copeland is absolutely right on this, with respect to that dotted line, there is some verbiage about at what point vehicles can transition into that bike lane to make that right-hand turn.
I mean, if we made it shorter, that would help. But if it's illegal to do that, then.
Yeah, I think that's something that may take a little bit of, we probably should do a little more research on that before we.
We
I
can't
think
really.
we try, with the additional signage, if we see how that's helping, I think, that might take care of the problem right there.
It might.
Because that's our biggest problem at that time of day.
And that other one isn't on the agenda tonight, so we can't really discuss it, but at the moment, it sounds as if everybody supports a no right turn in red, so maybe I would ask, I will